We'd like to keep this quite tight tonight. It's a very warm day. We're heading into a difficult weekend, so we want you to be able to go home, prepare, and perhaps, if you get a chance, relax a little bit too. So I might just give you an overview of where we are at the moment. So we are in a state of emergency for the first time in the ACT since 2003. We've been trying to take the community along, and I'm pretty sure we've got you along the journey so far with us. So very early we nominated a state of alert for the Territory, and we embedded the emergency controller for the ACT, which of course gives Georgina Whelan the opportunity to drive resources, manage people and government facilities and assets in her remit as emergency coordinator. That steps up a little bit more today with the state of emergency. She is now able to draw on government resources and redirect government resources to the main priority, which is to keep you all safe and to combat the fire that we have to the southwest of the ACT. Joe will give you a detailed update of the fire behaviour over the last couple of days and where we've mapped it, and predicted it will go over the next 2 days as well. As we've been saying to the community, the next 2 days is probably the most crucial, Saturday, tomorrow being the most difficult day for weather conditions and for the fire front in the ACT. We have resources and assets from the Australian Federal Police, ACT Policing, all of our ESA component, as well as 300 boots on the ground from the Australian Defence Force, and all of their, or a number of their assets. So I think we have about 4 ADF air assets with us. We have a large contingent of earth-moving equipment from the Australian Defence Force, as well as the air assets that we've got from NAFC, which is the National Aviation Firefighting Agency. And you've seen those assets flying around the ACT. So with that, I'll go to Joe now. Joe will start to talk about the fire. Then we'll then go and have a chat about possible evacuation zones. And then, of course, Jamie Bellicanti will talk to you about policing's role and how they're working with ADF on door knocking, traffic redirection, that sort of thing. So thanks for your patience.
Thanks, Minister, and good afternoon, everyone. Wow again. Is there a new face in the room tonight compared to the other night? Excellent, that is fantastic. All right, so the fact that you're here tonight shows you are interested in what's going on to our south of Canberra right now. All right, a bit about the fire. So today, the fire has done the runs that we thought it would. You've seen that massive plume out to the south. It is grown by another 5,000 hectares today so far. So it was 15,000 hectares, it's well over 20,000 hectares today and increasing in size. It is moving in a southeasterly direction. It is spotting up to 1 to 2 kilometres ahead of the fire. It is growing by itself with its own fire weather. For those who looked outside about 2.5 hours ago, you would have seen a massive storm cloud punch up through the atmosphere. That was a fire thunderstorm. So that is where the fire creates its own weather and starts pulling itself along and accelerating even faster. Now that is gone now. I spoke with our risk analyst before I got here today. We could probably see more of those today. We will probably see more of those tomorrow. So the fire continues to move in a southeasterly direction as predicted. It is also moving in a west and northwest and north direction slowly. So that means it is moving towards Corran Dam and then moving towards the grasslands north of Mount Tennant as well, on the western side. So there's a lot going on out there. The fire is erratic. It has got massive flame heights. I cannot and will not put firefighters in the front of that. It is too dangerous. Our firefighters are right now embedded with the local population down through Nace Valley and Tharwa. We have firefighters on the ground. There are strike teams working with the landholders right now. I spoke with one of the locals before I got here today. He's got a contingent of the Queensland Fire and Emergency Service firefighters with him this afternoon. down on his land. There is a strike team from Fire and Rescue through Tharwa, plus Rural Fire Service. So I won't go through all the people. The Minister's listed quite a few who are helping us out with this fire. There are too many to name. There are so many organisations helping the ACT with this fire. Anyway, enough of that. Behind me you can see a map. So the different colours, the shades, show you the progression of this fire day by day. The middle one, that's what's that one there. That's day one. So that was day one. This one here, the big outside perimeter purple, that was 1.5 hours ago. That is how far the fire has progressed in that time. What has it been, 4 days? Sorry, I've lost count at this stage. That is how fast that fire is growing. It will be bigger tomorrow. So for those who were here the other day, for those who might have been down at Tharwa this morning or Uriara last night, today's a big day, tomorrow's a bigger day. All right, I'm going to talk a bit about the weather. So it's been a little bit breezy today, about 20 kilometres an hour, 20 kilometres an hour with a gusting to 30. Tomorrow is 30 gusting to 50 kilometres an hour. The weather will be worse tomorrow, it will be hotter tomorrow. Tomorrow is a worse day than today. So, for those in who live around here, Banks, Gordon, Conda, in this Lanyon Valley, the fire's not here yet. We hope the fire will not get here. Please, and this is the bit that matters. You need to stay connected to the ESA website. You need to look at our Facebook page. You need to look at Twitter if you use Twitter. You need to listen to local media, and that's the radio and the TV stations. They are repeating everything we do. They're talking to me a couple of times a day and keeping so that I'm providing updates as well. Please take a personal decision now to stay connected to all those. Download the New South Wales Fires Near Me app because we put updates through that as well. You need to take this very personally now. The fire is 13 kilometres away from the southern point of Canberra. Alrighty, so that's a bit about what the fire's doing. The fire will continue to do this tonight. It is going to keep burning through the night. What we normally call overnight is the thing called recovery, where where all the humidity comes in, things calm down, and we can come back tomorrow. I spoke with our risk analyst. He said the easterly sea breeze is not coming. The northwesterly will stay there. The northwesterly is a dry wind. So it won't be a strong wind tonight, but it will still be a wind that's out there. It'll turn down to a breeze. But there's so much heat out there in the bush. There is just a breeze out there. The fire will continue to burn tonight. We have crews on the ground, down through the valley, working 24/7. In at ESA headquarters, we have a crew working 24/7. We're here for your safety and your protection. I need you to do your bit. Stay safe. Stay informed. Keep yourself up to date what's going. Alrighty. So it's a bit about the doom and gloom. Alright, let's talk about the other stuff which is not quite so doom and gloomish. Alrighty. There was a question, we've been looking a bit at social media, there was a question a bit about a Telstra outage down here this coming weekend, or this on Monday or something like that. I spoke with the Telstra, so we have in our headquarters, we have what's called liaison officers. I spoke with the Telstra liaison officer. He said, while the state of emergency is declared, Telstra has suspended all works on the Telstra network in ACT. All works. They did that by themselves, by the way. Telstra get it. They aren't. Oh well, you know, there's other ways we sometimes describe Telstra. They took this upon themselves to actually decide they're there to help the community because people rely on them. So Telstra's not doing any works. There was that one. Somebody else will come up, I'm sure. All right, we're going to get to questions shortly. Jamie, I'm going to ask you to come forward if you can, please. So this is Jamie from ACT Policing. So we're going to get Jamie to talk about roadblocks, how evacuations might work. Oh, I should mention, there is still an evacuation in order over the Nace Valley. What that means is we want people are allowed to go north, they're not allowed to go south. People are not allowed to go back into that area unless they're a landholder or a resident. Please don't go rubbernecking. Please don't go try to get photos. Please don't go clog up the roads. There are more fire trucks, ADF trucks, more vehicles moving down that way than you could possibly poke a stick at. please don't try and be part of that as well. We need the roads clear for all those people down there who are doing all the fantastic work they're doing, including these guys in blue who are in the rock and the hard place of trying to do law enforcement by trying to keep the roads open and support all the activities they're doing. Anyway, Jamie, thank you. Over to you.
Look, thank you very much. Just by way of introduction, Jamie Bellicanter, I'm a superintendent who's your current police forward commander next door in the forward command post. Behind that wall there, at the moment we have about 100 ADF staff. We have SES staff, we have police recruits and ACT policing representatives. Let's call it stacking or paused ready to door knock or share information with you all. You may not be aware, over the last 2 or 3 days we've been involved in conducting door knocks in a number of suburbs. Today 4 suburbs were knocked, had doors knocked at those locations: Wright, Chapman, Duffy and Canberra. The locations of the doors that we knocked on were prescribed by ESA/the ECC in regards to modelling and the locations of houses where people should at least be told, have your fire plan in place, do you have an evacuation plan in place, are you a vulnerable person or are you a vulnerable residence, in regards to whether you will need assistance if you do need to evacuate. Last night we had a number of police, again SES and ADF staff, knocking on doors in the Benithan and Greenway locations. Now, some of you that live in those locations might think, well, we weren't visited, nobody knocked on our door. Again, it's a bit like that rock and a hard place situation. We can knock on the door. If someone's there, that's great. We'll make a note of that. If there's nobody there, we also make a note of it, but we will leave a pamphlet of information, or with information on that pamphlet, at your residence. The third location that gave us a little bit of grief and a little bit of a challenge was the high-rise facilities, in particularly Greenway, whereby we don't have access to those facilities. So your traditional front door, knock on the door situation wasn't able to be undertaken. So what we did there, we left flyers in the letterboxes, but also using masking tape. It was a bit bold, but with masking tape, we've gone and masking taped that information sheet on as close as we could to the front door of those locations. So I just have some information to share with you here. Please indulge me. I'll read from my notes here. I've got here at 3 p.m. today, police door knocked the residents of Tharwa and advised them the fire was approaching. If you're going to leave now, is what we were telling residents of Tharwa. Now, you may have seen today that a state of emergency was declared. You may well think, what does that mean? Do police have extra powers? Do other emergency services personnel have extra powers? I think the way that we best describe that is that the extra powers augment the powers that we already have as members of our special agency, as members of our specialist agencies. Just to reconfirm, if we knock on your door and say that you need to evacuate, we do not have the power as police to say you are evacuating. So we will not be grabbing anybody, traditionally as police would be expected to do. Years of experience, and the divvy van won't be waiting out the front, because the last thing we really want to do is take somebody away from the house. If you choose to stay, you have the right to choose to stay in your house. However, as we said, we have a list of vulnerable people, and they're vulnerable in regards to issues. For example, you might be a single mother, I'm stereotyping, with 3 children, and sadly your car was destroyed in the hailstorms last week, and you do not have any means of transport to get out. So as far as we were concerned in the police forward command post last night, we made the decision that for mine classified as vulnerable. But we're actually looking at a new class of vulnerable people in the suburbs of Banks, Gordon and Conda at the moment. And they're highly vulnerable, and they are medically highly vulnerable people. So at the moment we have that list of names. We'll work together with ACT Emergency Services, ACTAS, the Defence Force and Police, and if we are required to knock on those doors, we anticipate we'll be doing that this evening in those 3 suburbs to advise or to at least learn of their situation and ability to evacuate. Again, some people might say we have somebody who's infirmed, but we are able to move them of our own volition. or they might say we have no vehicle and we need your assistance. So we're going back out. We anticipate going back out this evening to reconfirm that that is in fact the case, and they are in fact the addresses we would need to evacuate first as a priority. Disaster tourism, it's an issue that was raised today at an earlier stand-up, and I just wanted to take issue with that. It's a new term, disaster tourism, but as we've said earlier, for those of you that have seen it, if you are, again, I'm going to take it on goodwill, the vast majority of you are Tuggeranong Southside residents. You may have noticed the large amount of motor vehicles that are pulling up on the side of the road. You know, in our business, we might call it rubbernecking. You know, in my day, in the old accident squad days, people would rubberneck, have a look at a car accident, and cause another one. And that's exactly what occurs. So can we actually please impose on you, with your friends and relatives or what have you, if you do get involved in a conversation with them, can you please ask them to not come down south, to pull over on the side of the road? Because what occurs with that is that people are actually crossing the road willy-nilly, trying to get that really good shot on their phone so they can send it to their friends. We actually don't need that to occur. Again, with the amount of emergency service vehicles that will need to go through that location, we don't need people pulled up on the side of the road and then for them to brake suddenly. So please, we request your assistance there. Dissuade people from engaging in disaster tourism activities. I've spoken about door knocking earlier. The only door knocking we anticipate occurring tonight, as I said, are for the highly vulnerable people with medical issues that would need our attention. If you are required to evacuate, please evacuate in a controlled manner. It was interesting, I was speaking to someone in the car park this afternoon before walking into the police forward command post, and they said, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if the fire was roaring behind me and I was driving my car as fast as I could up the Tuggeranong Parkway? Wouldn't that be a great photo?" So those people are amongst us, everybody, and we just need to work with them. So please, can I also ask that you role model behaviour if you are asked to leave and you do choose to leave according to your evacuation plan, that you leave in an orderly manner. No need to do burnouts on the way out and take a selfie, as this gentleman suggested would be a good thing. Traffic in an evacuation, we've spoke about that. We have been working with Transport Canberra and City Services to make sure buses are available, and this will be communicated to the community if and when required. As you expect, during an evacuation, police will focus on assisting the more vulnerable people. For all other members of the community, we ask that you follow any direction that you are given and do not wait until the last minute to leave. We recognise the concerns about one road in and out of Lanyon Valley, and we've been planning our traffic management activities according to the address to address this issue. We are also reminding people to keep up to date on the latest information. Road closures will be available on ACT Policing Traffic Twitter account, but also the Transport Canberra website. That's correct. I've spoken about vulnerable people. Can I please ask, sadly, again, as I said earlier, we've got those amongst us that think it's a good thing to do a burnout with the fire in the background of their photo. You might do this in goodwill, but you might actually say, you might think it's a good idea to say, "We've left the premises," and you might put the wheelie bin out the front of your house with a sign on it saying, "We've left." Again, done in goodwill, you might think that you're actually assisting us to say, well, good, everyone is out of that house. But again, those amongst the community might seize on that opportunity and think, well, there's nobody in the house. And that's the last thing we'd really want. So it's a real vexed issue. I'm not sure if anyone else has any another posture on that. But we would simply be saying, do not advertise the fact that your house is vacant. There is a process in place that if we are to evacuate, come that call, that we would mark the front of your house on the roadway, not your driveway, but it might be a dab of paint or a spray paint of paint to say that house has been visited. So at least a colour or a spray dot would indicate that we've been to that premises. So apart from that, please don't advertise that you're not in the house. Evacuation centres, I'm rehashing old information now. Erindale College has been open all day. So too the Epic out at North Lynham. Lynham is open for large animals. Whilst evacuation centres will be available and open, seeking a safe shelter at a friend or relative's place in the first instance is also preferable and advisable. Did you want me to touch on road closures? They've been an off and on again thing. I'll speak to those. We have what we're calling a hard closure and a soft closure, and to be brutally honest, I even had to ask the question this afternoon when I started my shift what the difference between those meant. So soft closure is where we have representatives from transport services or contractors manning a road closure. A hard closure is where we have police at that road closure, and as we indicated earlier, only emergency services vehicles and residents of that location heading in that direction will be allowed entry into those areas. So at the moment, Tharwa Drive roundabout at Noki Avenue has a road closure there. Angle Crossing at the Monaro Highway, Bobian Road at the ACT New South Wales border, and the point there is north of Shannon's Flat. Signage is not in place, but that is in fact staffed. Tidbinbilla Road at Point Hut Road, Corrin Road and Tidbinbilla Road, Nace Road at Smiths Road. How am I going there? My apologies. And Smiths Road at Nace Road.
Can we mention the Corrin as a hard closure, please?
We can mention that Corrin Road?
Hard closure.
Okay, so Corrin Dam Road is a hard closure also. Okay, and my last 2 points. ACT Policing will continue to perform our business as usual tasks. So, God forbid something happens where your house has been broken into, there's a disturbance at your premises out the front of your house or a pub or what have you. We still have business as usual activities underway, but we have an enhanced and increased capacity to deploy members together with our other agency representatives. And finishing with staying up to date, please listen to ACT Canberra Radio 6.00pm or visit the ESA Facebook and website, but also ACT Policing social media channels. I'm happy to take questions, but I might take them collectively with everybody else. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jamie. So what we're going to do is now ask Anne-Marie, isn't it, to come forward. So Anne-Marie's from the Community Services Directorate. So the Community Services Directorate looks after the evacuation centres, which are typically at educational facilities, in this case, Erindale College. So right now we have an evacuation centre available for those people who have been evacuated out of the areas down south of Nace Road. It can also offer as a respite centre for a while. Yep. It can also operate as a respite centre. This is where you might need a break from home, or you just might need to go and chill out a little bit somewhere and grab a cup of tea and coffee, maybe a friendly face, and you can go and sit there for a little while and just chill out. But it is primarily for evacuation at this time. Anyway, Anne-Marie from Community Service Directorate is going to talk a bit about what an evacuation centre means, about what you get there and how it all sort of operates. But as Jamie mentioned, family and friends first. You'll have a better time. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So I'm just wanting to give you a bit of an understanding about what you'll find if you do go to an evacuation centre. At the moment we do have the Erindale College set up. It's open 24/7 and we have fully trained staff there from both government and our community partners to assist and support with any question, any issue that individuals or families have. So if they don't actually have the answer or the resource that will address for your question, they will source it and be able to find that. So there's a myriad of questions that they're able to address for. They've got information on hand. They've got access to any expert support that people need, or any other issues like assisting you to contact family and friends if that's what's needed as well. A lot of planning goes into selecting the sites for evacuation centres, and so we need to make sure that it's of a decent enough size to be able to cater for large numbers of people, that it's actually got capacity to have an area for food preparation and serving. There's quiet areas for people when you just might need a bit of a rest. There's areas that are set up for children in order to be able to play and just get away from things if needed, with qualified staff there to support as well. There's available toilet facilities, shower facilities, all of those sort of things that are in place. There, at the evacuation centre, there's also capacity to take your family pets. So the domestic animal service is there to be able to support for the keeping of, cats, dogs, rabbits, whatever people might have in terms of taking them with you as well. So the staff there will be able to assist you with accommodation if that is what is required as well. So they've also got access to accommodation to be able to support for people where you require that. So they've tried to set them up as fairly friendly, welcoming places, and they're able to, as I said, assist with any question or issues that people have.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. So we're going to hear a quick word from the Minister again. Jamie's got to come back with something, and then we'll do questions after that. By the way, I'd like to mention also this Jamie over here, also a Auslan interpreter. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Joe. I just wanted to talk to you quickly about the amount of resources and management planning that ESA has in place. Around the fire, they set containment lines. Mark Brown from ACT Fire and Rescue has been incredibly passionate in talking about protecting life and property in the ACT. He said, I will not see lives or property lost in the ACT. Even if I have to paint every edge house with retardant, that's what I'll do. So don't be surprised if your house changes colour to a very bright pink. It's only to save you and your house. And we've done it, of course, on a number of our assets up in the hills, so communications assets, other assets have been covered in retardant to ensure that we can get them through this fire. Thank you.
Thanks, Minister. Sorry, I'm hogging the microphone, but I just forgot to mention one thing to you earlier. We actually expect the fire, given its modelling, to actually cross the Monaro Highway at Mikalago. Today at the start of our shift we expected that to occur later this afternoon, if not this evening. But I was quite strident in my thoughts because I didn't want to be in the situation where we go public via the media or what have you, social media, to advise the Monaro Highway is closed. And so for them people to think, well, hang on, that's part of my evacuation plan, I need to get down there to pick people up. So if you have friends, loved ones, if you are in fact anywhere near the Monaro Highway in the Mikalago area, we certainly do expect for the fire to cross the highway this afternoon, this evening, maybe later tonight. But ultimately what that would result in would be that the Monaro Highway would be closed for a stretch. Could be a kilometre, could be 5 or 10 kilometres. We'd have New South Wales Police at one end and ACT Police at the other. So if you could, please indulge me, if you have friends, relatives, loved ones in that area, if you could share that information with them, as opposed to them hearing that it's closed and it's not too late to leave, but it thwarts their plan. So thank you.
Alrighty, folks, we're going to have the questions in just a sec. One last thing just to mention. Right now in the ACT, this fire is called the Orroral Fire. Should it cross into New South Wales, it will get a new name with New South Wales. Right now there might be Mount Clear, it might be something else. So just be prepared. You might see a fire name in the ACT, you might see a new fire name in New South Wales. For those who have been using the Fires Near Me app, you might have seen a Watch and Act pop up on the east side of the ACT right now. That is not a new fire. They did that so they could do some messaging to the locals in that area, and they need to use their system that way to do that. All right, enough of that. So the way the questions are going to work is, I'll point at the person and try and identify them. They'll ask the question, I will repeat the question, and then we'll give the answer. And we have to take the questions now. We're not going to do this all night, so we're going to be boom, 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 boom as we go through. Alrighty, so I can see a lady up the back there with the strap on the bag. Fire away.
We're in Gilmore. What's the chance of it coming around the edge and coming up that way?
Maybe. So what I want to say is, right now the model and the current wind direction is taking it southeast. But as I started with, the fire has been erratic in its behaviour. It is spreading in all directions. We are keeping a very close eye on it. My best advice to you is keep an eye on the warnings, keep an eye on the alerts, prepare your house now. Now, do I need to give the talk right now about how you've got to prepare your house and yourself? Do I need to do that one again? No. Okay. It's pretty hard. Alrighty, so cool with that answer? Okay, and I didn't repeat the question, sorry. This gentleman in the red.
Can someone advise how the text alert system works?
Yes, so how does the text alert system work? That's called emergency alert. So the way this works is that when we issue any emergency warning, we will also issue what's called an emergency alert. Now this is a phone-based warning system. So basically it's a bit of software, we draw an outline around an area, and every landline, which is in a house, every mobile phone in that area will receive a phone call from a robot or a text from a robot. We type in the text, it will then read it out to you on your landline. It will speak it out to you. It will speak it out to your landline. It will arrive on your phone, your mobile phone, as a text. When the emergency alert goes out, it is directive. So it says, like at the first, so emergency warning 1 might simply say, this is aimed at you people in these suburbs, because it doesn't, so if you receive it and you're not in the suburbs, and that happened the other day with the emergency alert that was put over Tharwa, people in Banks and Gordon also received it. That's why we put the suburbs there. It is for you. And it's only for those people that we're targeting at. Doesn't mean everybody else doesn't keep monitoring. It'll be targeted you and it will be directive. It might say evacuate now, or it'll at least say shelter in place. It's directive. It's not a how you going, it's directive. It's pointed right at you. Right, that's emergency alert. This gentleman here.
With the actually being in a state of
Emergency, yeah.
Thank you. Is there any impact on schools, i.e. next week are schools open?
All right, so is there an impact on the schools next week? We're working with the Education Director right now. So a bit about this, we have a daily meeting with all heads of all directorates in the ACT. It includes all the chief officers of the ESA and the Commissioner, includes our utility partners as well. And we are discussing that matter as we speak. So just stay tuned. So certainly for the northern schools, I just see no impact on those. As we come further south, there might be changes. But the Education Department also has a SMS system with all the parents, from what we understand. They will start doing messaging through that as they need to. But listen to the ESA. The ESA website is the source of truth. We will repeat everything on there. Wow, this lady here in the red singlet, that's you.
Sorry, just going on from that, last meeting you mentioned that the text message will not override a do not disturb. Have you been able to fix that or look into that?
I can't. So this is about can I make the emergency alert override your phone settings? No, I cannot. So if you've got your phone set as do not disturb and it doesn't receive text, it will not receive that text. You need to make sure that your phone is ready and active. Folks, there is a fire 13 kilometres from the border, or from your border, from the Canberra suburbs. You need to have your phone turned on and ready to receive text at all times. I know it might be a pain for some of you. That's what you're going to do right now. Okay, where are we going? So the high vis lady down there, you're doing a good job.
So once the fire hits Banks, basically, I'm assuming there's going to be staff like surrounding the area, or are we going to be told to get out? Or, okay, say there's spot fires around, all that sort of stuff. Like, do we get up on the roof? What do we do? Like,
All right. So the question is, do I get up on my roof, which is the second part of the question? No. Nobody gets on their roof. The experience from 2003 was that you'll get blown off your roof. No, nobody gets on a roof. Feel free to use your ladder to clean your gutters out. Don't get up on your roof, please. Your roof does not need to be wet. All right? The gutters need to be a bit damp on the inside to stop embers. The roof, no. All right, so the other part, which was about what do we do when the fire's approaching. So as the fire is approaching Banks, Gordon, Conda, this area here, it'll be a grass fire, okay? But it will be followed with preceded by a lot of ember. Absolutely. If the wind is blowing this way, it will be preceded by a large ember attack. So we will have resources in your suburb. We may issue a shelter in place. We may issue an evacuation. It comes down to how quickly it occurs, what is occurring, what we know, what we think you can do in time. So,
if there's a spot fire like right in our backyard, or for example, the room back on fire because of an ember, which obviously you guys may listen
right?
What do we do?
Okay.
Stay inside or to say one of the stuff that was
Okay, so I'll crystal ball this as well as I can, all right? So let me put it right now. It's in all the emergency warnings that you've been receiving through the media. There will not be, there cannot be a firefighter or a fire truck at every house. We do not, even with all the extra resources that are in Canberra right now, we cannot do this. You have a personal responsibility to make some decisions here. So, if you're going to stay and defend your house, if you have a shelter in place, you need to be prepared to actually, after the fire front goes over, to put all those spot fires out. You have a responsibility. We will have firefighters there. We will have trucks there as soon as we can, but they will be spread thin, folks. We have a finite number of trucks, a finite number of firefighters. We have a lot of citizens, folks. You're smart people. You can do this. Together, we can do this. All right? Believe me, we can. It's happened before. So, together we can do this. Be smart about it. Stay informed. Keep yourself prepared and be ready. But look ahead. Keep an eye on the website. Look at the alerts. Alrighty, this lady over here is in the leopard top. Go.
I'm a bit away from it. Just in Greenway this afternoon, they've advised us I'm at the hotel there. I know everyone else here employed me and that, but would you recommend that I contact people not to come to stop it coming? Or just
So you got some sort of event on, do you?
No, we run the hotel.
Oh, you run the hotel.
So people are coming in, some inside, even some residents are coming in. But today they came and they said they're going to put it at 9.
Yep.
And they opened up all the gates.
So what I suggest is we've done a lot of work around the back of there. So this is a question about the hotel down in Greenway, which backs on the grassland down towards the river. So, and whether people should keep coming to the hotel. My answer is yes. We've done a lot of work down between you and the Murrumbidgee River corridor. If the fire's coming that way, we will put resources in place. We have large aircraft that can put retardant down. But we will also give you a warning which says, get everybody out. So I need you to have a system in your hotel which says, everybody, pick up your mobile phone, grab your wallet and leave if there's an evacuation order in place. If it's shelter in place, and look, buildings are really good at sheltering. If it's shelter in place, it's shelter. We need you to work with us as a community partner. All right, question. Ladies, drop your shirt on, horizontal.
I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's actually watching the PSA website and advising, so thank you very much for being informed that way. The question I have is that I wanted to go to my brother's place in Terrebonga. Do I have to go to the evacuation place first to let them know that I'm going to my brother's place, go straight through to the event?
So if you get evacuated?
Yeah, and how do I mark myself safe?
Okay, so you go. Okay, so.
On the website when I was watching.
Yep. Okay. So when it says evacuate, what we're saying is please evacuate, and there is an evacuation centre open if you need it. Go to your brother's place.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Go straight to your brother's place. Do it in a safe way.
Do I mark myself safe? There apparently there was a website that we're going to.
So that's called, what's that Red Cross one? Reunite. No, was it?
Register, find, reunite.
That's it. Register. It's called Register, Find, Reunite. We will activate that should we need to activate. It's a Red Cross run website, and it's where you can mark yourself safe and people can find you. But we will the police will activate that as part of their activities should that need to occur. All right, folks, we're going to start wrapping this up in a little while. Right down the back, dude, in the orange pinky. No, I'll give you that. It's a red shirt. Right down the back there. Can someone pass the question down to us, please? We can't quite hear it. Ah, caravans. Sorry? Epic. Okay, rightio. So, if you evacuate in your own caravan, and I assume it's already hooked up and ready to go, Epic or Queanbeyan Showground will probably be open for you. Have a look on the website, it'll be there. Not Queanbeyan? Okay, not Queanbeyan then. So stand by, whoa, slow down. We will check that to make sure. Just remove that one, Queanbeyan Showground. All right, definitely Epic. Alrighty, next question. We're going to go to the right-hand side over here. We've got a lady in the red top. Okay, calm down, everyone. Yeah.
I'm also in that circumstance. They said on the radio you cannot go to Queanbeyan, but if you wanted to go to Braidwood, you must place was empty.
Okay, so that's about where else you take your caravan. Apparently you go to Braidwood if you ring ahead, or otherwise it's epic. All right, thanks very much. Down the front.
Just quickly, if retardant ends up all over, is there any health issues with asthmatics?
Okay, so the question is retardant harmful or toxic, particularly with asthmatics? The answer is no. It's basically detergent. Don't go licking it, don't drink it, but you know what? You'll know it's there because it's bright pink, folks. So if your dog comes in one night, you go, what the heck is that? That's us dropping retardant. No, so it's actually a biosafe. It's a biosafe detergent. So yeah, it's what we use. It's a very biologically safe detergent. We use it in water catchment areas because it's so safe. Alrighty, lady here with the green top. Yep. Will we take people in wheelchairs? So do we have people? Do we have vehicles for people in wheelchairs?
Yes, we do. So we would work with ACT Ambulance Service if we do need to evacuate somebody in a wheelchair. So would you mind, before you leave, I'll just get your details to ensure we have your details on our listings here, and we'll provide that to ESA.
All right, so the answer to that one was yes, there will, but we need to know about this beforehand. So I know that ESA is working with CSD to identify whole and vulnerable people in southern Tuggeranong. So we're getting that done. We are getting it done. Right, gentlemen in the blue, white shirt. So just so I understand that, so are you asking, is there containment between here and Thawasay?
Yeah. And is there a chance of the fire crossing over the containment line and going through?
Absolutely. Okay, the question was, will the fire cross containment lines? Absolutely. So I want to put that out there right now, and this is the New South Wales experience, by the way. It's our experience as well. The fires on high fire danger days are so aggressive, they are jumping containment lines. The spotting is jumping containment lines. Our containment lines are not 2 to 3 kilometres wide. You know, so the fires are putting out massive spots. A fire coming up through the Lanyon Valley towards Banks of Gordon, if it's moving that fast, it may jump containment. Grasslands are our best place to put fires out though, to contain them with large aircraft, with firefighters, because the fire intensities go down. This is not a reason to be complacent. The grass fire will be fast, it will be hot, it will be smoky, and it will be led by a large ember attack. Don't kid yourself, the grass fires are something to be sneezed at. Yep, forest fires are really dangerous. Grass fires move really fast. All right, next question. Abby.
My question is just in relation to transport. A couple of nights ago we were informed by the ADF that if an evacuation is likely, possibly the 4 lanes of Drakeford would be going in one direction. But Commissioner Whelan also spoke today in a media release about not stopping people getting back to their properties if they need to. So if you happen to be caught short and there's a quick change, but you've got vulnerable neighbours or pets that you want to get back to down this way, is there something that might be in place for that?
Okay, so I'll get Jamie to talk in a second about this, about what we might do with roads and the like. The question was about what do we do about if we're close by and we call an evacuation? My folks, turn around and evacuate. I know that is really hard to hear, all right? I know that it's really hard. Even if you've got a vulnerable family member at home, if you're not driving in the street on the way into your driveway, you need to turn around and get out. We've called the evacuation for a reason. So watch and act. So there's 3 levels: advice, watch and act, emergency warning. At watch and act, this is your cue to maybe think about what do I need to do. Because watch and act normally means it's about the fire could potentially be 6 hours away. You think, 6 hours, that's half a work day. How quickly could that possibly go past? Like lightning. So I'm not giving everybody leave pass from work. That's not what I'm offering right now. What I'm saying to you is you need to make a personal decision about what you're going to do as the alert levels come up. You need to download that Fires Near Me app so you can set up the watch zone around your house so that when the alerts are put out for around your house, you get them and you can start making a personal decision. James, you want to talk about what might be done about road access?
Thank you. I just want to reiterate those words just spoken in regards to the situation you might find yourself in. Again, we're in that vexed situation as police officers at a roadblock, trying to get the vast majority, 99.9% of people going in one direction. And I do sympathise and empathise and understand your situation and your scenario. So what I would be saying is we would meet each of those requests on an as-needs basis. So, for example, if you're one street away and you are part of the emergency evacuation plan and you need to get 10 houses away, more than likely I would like to think, allow that to occur without interfering too much with the flow of traffic. But what I would also request you do is have a plan in place whereby, if that is your plan to return to the house and you just don't get there in time, to have your neighbours work with that residence to have them evacuated as part of their evacuation plan. So no, I can't say we wouldn't let you in on an as-needs basis on each occasion, but one would like to think we'd find an opportunity for that to occur. But very much want to reiterate, you are given those levels for very much a reason. I don't mean to be blunt in describing that situation, but if you heed that warning, then we should have a minuscule amount of people heading in the other direction. Does that help? Okay. Thanks, Joe. Cheers, mate.
Alrighty. Gentleman down the back, green, yellow, white. So the question was, with the current fire behaviour, might we get an impact on the houses in the middle of the night? Was that yep? Okay, absolutely. Less likely, but absolutely. So the question, it's about, will the fire travel at night time? So we started with this. So the fire typically dies down a bit overnight, but we are currently seeing fire behaviour that's erratic. We are continuing to see hot, dry winds coming from the northwest, which are maintaining the fire activity overnight. Might not be quite as aggressive, but it's still there. People, you need to keep your phones by your bed. For those who live down in this Banks, Conderera, Gordon area, live on southern parts of Tuggeranong. I'm not saying it's going to come here. I'm saying there's a chance. I'm saying you need to be alert and be informed and keep yourself informed. I'm trying not to scare you. I'm saying you need to be alert and aware to the situation. Alrighty, I'm going to get down the back again. Gentleman right down the back, big, tall guy like me. There you go.
Where do you assemble to get in there instead of making it more of a mess for the emergency?
So is this about you offering your assistance to help out tomorrow? Okay, so I actually don't have that answer. Anne-Marie, got anything on that at all about people maybe spontaneous volunteering or being able to assist at all?
So yes,
come out the microphone, please. Recording.
So again, if you were to go to the Erindale College Evacuation Centre and offer your support and assistance, they will be able to look at what's available in order to be able to volunteer.
When you're in the zone and your house is safe and others are falling around and you think you've got that bad, where can you help?
Oh, sorry, completely missed the point. Sorry. So this is about how you help your neighbours?
Yeah.
Okay, every way you can. So I'm going to step back a little bit. Assuming, because I know you're a really smart crowd, everybody here has done a bushfire survival plan. Don't tell me you haven't. Don't want to know.
I haven't. I've got brain issues.
Okay, find somebody who can do it for you. Seriously, if somebody's got to help you with it. So, bushfire survival plan. I want you to do it. I want you to sit down and do it. Then I want you to go next door to your neighbour's place and make sure they've done it. And we become a community that way, by talking to each other and finding out who's vulnerable, about finding out who's not, who can help out. And as a small community, which then becomes a large community, we can help each other. You've heard me say this before, and anybody's heard me on the radio. I've been talking about this for 3 years now. As a community, we can overcome anything, but we need to talk to each other and we need to meet each other. Use the bushfire survival plan as your way to meet your neighbour and say good day. Alrighty, moving right along. Questions? Yes, Jen. This gentleman in red shirt.
Can you just confirm with the mobile phone and home phone alerts,
Yep.
it's regardless of who your carrier is?
Yeah, so, right, the question was about the emergency alert, the mobile phone and landline alerting system. It doesn't matter who your carrier is, it will work. It doesn't matter whether you're behind a PABX wall. In other words, if you're in a business place, it will still work. So yes, it works regardless of whoever your carrier is.
Do you need to set it up, or is it automatic?
It only, sorry, I mean by turn it up.
Set it up.
I said no. It happens regardless. So so it goes through the carriers and they distribute it.
It's a push.
Push. It's push. Go.
To the person that was asking before about the fire retardant, the New South Wales Rural Fire Service did state last year through animal testing that it can cause respiratory issues in case anyone is vulnerable or knows someone is vulnerable.
Don't lick the retardant. Lady in the pink.
With the high-rise apartments, particularly in Greenway, myself having a service animal.
Oh, you do too.
Yeah. But there are also members in the community in the high-rise that are actually either in a wheelchair or disabled to the point where they can't really get out too easily. If we are in danger and need to get out, how best can we get everyone out safely?
All right, so the question is about those who live in high-rise areas. How do we get them out safely? Vulnerable members of our community. So this is about working with the Community Services Directorate. We're identifying those people. We're working with policing and ACT ambulance. But people need to be self-aware as well. So they need to set up, if you have a mobility issue, if you have a disability that makes mobility an issue, you should have some sort of plan in place which gets you out early. You have to have some personal responsibility for this as well. We have finite resources. We have finite time to do things. You need to take some personal responsibility as well. Alrighty, anybody else up the back? I'm going to go down to the lady with the blue, white shirt. Yeah. All right. The question is about high-rise preparation. Man, these are new questions. I haven't had these before. Yeah. So take anything that's flammable off your balcony, put it inside. Don't have your curtains closed against your glass. You open your curtains so they don't become, because radiant heat will affect your curtains as well. So look, it's just about preparing. There's a lot of stuff on the ESA website about preparing your property and making sure it's ready to go. So it's about preparing your house, preparing you. Lady over here.
My question is, we have some neighbours and friends who are, I'm a mum of four, so I can talk about. They're a little bit complacent because it's 10 k's away, but experience from 2003 of a fire coming over the Brindis and burning Enders Landing and Richardson. What's the average sort of, could we have Embers landing tonight? Close enough to be...
So will embers land tonight? If the wind changes from the northwesterly to a southerly and there's enough heat in the fire, will you have embers landing tonight? Maybe. Will you have ash landing tonight? Without a doubt. People down at Thara have been living with ash falling on them for a couple of days now. So it comes down to how hot the fire is, how much it can loft, and whether it can loft enough material that's hot enough, high enough to carry far enough still to be light to land in your property. If the fire's approaching, absolutely, there will be embers which are hot enough to keep things going. All right, stay connected. We will keep you informed as to what's going on. All right, question down the back somewhere. Oh, the back's really quiet. All right, lady in the pink, purpley one. Yep.
We make the assumption that if we happen to be door knocked, we're not that much at risk. Like if you door knock them off, we're most likely to be affected.
So we have this thing called the bushfire prone area. So what we've done is we've identified the streets. We do mapping. It's actually online and available. We map the streets and the houses which are bushfire prone, and they're the ones that have been door knocked. They're the ones most likely to be impacted by an ember attack. To everybody else, do your bushfire survival plan and don't get complacent. Embers will travel far, far, far into a suburb. No dramas whatsoever. So the ones that have been door knocked are probably the most immediate. To everybody else, you have some personal responsibility to make sure you're ready. Alrighty, question. Lady here.
What's the prospect of electricity cuts? Because I'm thinking about getting cars.
Oh, I was supposed to mention that. Okay, I've just remembered wherever Alicia's gone. So what are the chances of electricity cuts? Look, if we get down power poles, if you remember 2003, the Ember attack, it actually cut power poles off of the base and they fell to the ground. There's always the possibility to power cuts. Now, the power for the ACT comes in through the northwestern part of the ACT, up through Holt, so it's a fair way from this fire at this stage. But local power cuts, there may be issues where that occurs. It depends on what the fire is doing and particularly what the smoke is doing. Smoke's a fantastic conductor of electricity and sometimes shorts out power systems. What I will say to you though is don't rely on the power to be there all the time. Have a mobile phone, have other systems available to you, like a battery-powered radio where you can continue to get alerts. You need to have some level of self-sufficiency in place. By the way, there is a level 2, Minister. We know about that? No. Okay, cool.
Well, we
we'll
could talk about the whilst we're talking about services.
Yep, Minister Reid.
Whilst we're talking about services, we've had a briefing from Icon Waters today. They have pumped more than 3 days' supply up into our local reservoirs. So there's enough supply for us to use those into our tankers, fire hydrants, for example, but also for you to use it as well. So be careful with it. We want to use it for combating fires, but they have done that work for us today, so it's really good.
Cool, thank you, Minister. Alrighty, folks, next question. We are going to start wrapping this up shortly. Lady there with the blonde hair.
A couple of questions. Those of us at pools, do you want us to take pool covers off, or are you likely to use that water?
Look, that's a good. So, look, maybe we typically don't use pools because it's in suburbia, and actually there's a whole lot of risks in suburbia when using helicopters with buckets. So I'd say we use pools in rural areas because there's not the same infrastructure which might impact a helicopter. So I'd say don't worry about it at this stage. If we make that call, we'll let you know publicly if we need to take covers off. But we typically use dams and rivers.
My second question is what's more useful to you with people who do have family to go to now, is it best to leave tonight and leave the area clear as people get out when they need to when the emergency strikes? Or is that premature to think about?
Okay, so the question is, should I leave tonight or should I leave now? So I can't give you that answer the way you want the answer. What I will say is you need to make a personal... Sorry?
What's useful to you? Have less people...
Oh, what's useful to me?
Do you have less people in the area, or do you want us to stay there and put the little fires out when they come up?
Okay, from me, I'd prefer you to do what you currently do day by day right now. Keep living your life the way it is right now. Stay connected and stay alert. Get the app so you're warned. So I think really stay at home right now, but just stay alert to what's going on. Stay comfortable. We don't want you stressing out at your parents' place or your friend's place where we've tried to fit 6 kids in where they're only 3 feet and all those sorts of things like that. So be cool, be comfortable at home, but listen out to the alerts and be responsive when we call the alerts and do what we need to do. Do not go and don't go and self-validate with the alerts when we put them out. All right, a couple last questions. Gentleman over here.
Yes, just a quick question. When we evacuate, should we lock the door or should we keep it open for the firefighters?
Okay. So what I'm going to steal a bit of Jamie's thunder here, which is lock the door. So the question was about when you leave. Do you leave it open for the looters or do you lock it for them? No, so sorry to be so flippant. So actually, no. Secure your property before you leave. I'm an ex-urban firefighter. We are really, really good at getting into locked things, so don't worry about that. We used to practice it. Alrighty, question, gentleman here.
Just on the disabled people or people with disabilities or keeping a record of them, if there's somebody who hasn't been door knocked but still will need someone that you may know your neighbour, can they ring police ESA or someone or can you ring police ESA and notify them that there is someone that should really be visited?
How do you want to do this one, James?
This is a real shared service response.
Yeah.
It's information.
Yeah,
it's information.
Come over, Jamie. So the question is about who should do some notification through to about disabled or vulnerable people.
It's probably the best question I've had in quite some time. For mine, it's a real shared responsibility. So please don't walk away this evening. Where are you, sir? Please don't walk away this evening from without at least.
I don't have the problem.
Okay. Are you aware of somebody in that situation?
Not particularly, no, but it's just bringing it up.
But no, it's a really good question. It's information that ESA will need so that if we do need to evacuate the vulnerable cohort, it's either going to be undertaken together with police, with the Defence Force, with SES resources. Ultimately, it may well be ACT ambulance service. So I might default and make a decision there that if there's somebody that needs evacuating, you could call. Do we call an emergency services line for that? Or is there I'm not aware of there being a registered phone number where you can actually register that information.
No, I've got a bit more information though.
Yeah, so I'm of no use to you.
Jamie, that's not true. So I will just point out that we're actually working with the NDIS to actually gather the details of people who are vulnerable in our communities. Now, I know that's not everybody, but it's a lot of people. So our Deputy Incident Controller, who's managing all the work with the Emergency Coordination Centre, is gathering all the information through CSD and our community partners as well. We are really trying very hard to identify this. If you think that you need to identify somebody, ready to write this one down for those who want to do it, I want you to send an email to ESA Have Your Say. Just as it sounds, ESA Have Your Say at act.gov.au. Put the details in there and we'll capture it. Do that one as well?
Yeah, I will. Thanks. Very discreetly, there's an ex-serving AFP member giving me instructions. And luckily my eyesight's pretty good, but can I also advise that people in that situation to ring 131444, so it's the police attendance line. Yep. So that's probably the information I could have done with 30 seconds ago and not before. But thanks very much. So again, obviously it's not a 000 call, which is what I was intimating at earlier. It's the 131444 police attendance line. That will go to our police communications room over the Winchester Police Centre, and we can make a determination in regards to what that response will look like. So, thank you.
Cool. All right, we're getting down the last few questions. Lady in the pinkish top, fire away. Okay. All right, so this is about evaporative coolers and whether they're best turned off. So, look, when they're coming, the embers are coming, I'd be turning it off simply because they'll be starting to pull smoke into the property as well, into the house. I know it's the cooling, but you have to survive by just being prepared for that. So we have had some very smoky nights where evaporative coolers don't do any work. I know this personally because I've got one. It was a really hot night for a couple of nights. That's the way it goes. Air conditioners, the like, just be prepared. Your air conditioner and like evaporative coolers rely on electricity. So there's a draw on the electricity system as well. So if you lose your power, that might happen. And just one thing, if you are going to leave your house, if you could do it for us, turn your gas off on the valve outside. That'd be really good as well. Just outside, there's a valve outside. Because the worst thing that will happen is you can turn it back on when you get home. Alrighty, getting down the last few questions. Gentleman over there. You see that?
What about gas bottles? Because you mentioned, for your barbies, should we empty them or should we just close them?
Okay, please don't. This is about gas bottles. Should you empty them? No. So what I want you to do is just turn them off and leave them where they are. But make sure they're off at the valve on the gas bottle itself. Turn it all the way off, all right? That way, if something happens to the cord, to the tube that connects it to the barbecue, doesn't matter because the gas is off. The gas bottles themselves have venting systems. They're very strong, very robust. They're designed to actually work when they get under some sort of lot of heat on them. They'll be okay. Alrighty, getting down the last few here. Gentlemen there, the black and red.
I live in Chisholm and I'm concerned about all the hail damaged cars. There are hundreds of them that have been placed just to the south of you against the Nara Highway. Yep. I'm concerned they've all got nice tyres that are very well, they've all got tanks of fuel, and there are hundreds of them. Yep. I'm just concerned that additional fire is being put in that area.
Okay, so this is a question about all those hail damaged cars, that massive car park that's appearing to the south part of Hume. I'd like to assure you right now that should the fire be going that way, more retardant will be dropped down there than you can possibly poke a stick at. We'll have firefighters down there, we will put retardant lines in, we'll put dozer lines in. We know that's there, it's been identified as an asset that needs to, or a threatened asset, so we know what we're doing with that one. It's already well and truly in the planning. Alrighty, we're getting down to the business end. Gentleman with the black t-shirt.
So with the fire front, if it does come across, would it be wise to turn off the mains to your pumping circuit, like the electricity?
Is this if we going to do a retardant drop?
No, so if you're staying behind and the fire front or even prior to you leaving, would it be best to switch off the electricity to the house?
No, so the question is, should you switch off the power as the firefighter approaches? No, don't worry about that. Really, the fire comes and leaves very quickly, like really quickly. The fire front will pass quite rapidly. Really what we want you to worry about is just staying safe, having a torch in the house, having a water supply, having your hoses inside with you, by the way, because they will melt outside. Have your hose inside so you can take it back outside, put out spot fires and the like. No, there's no need to cut off your electricity, power, gas or anything while you're still at home. It's okay. All right, getting down to business. Gentlemen, right down the middle there.
If the alert says activate the bushfire plan, bushfire
You betcha. That is the best question we've ever had. Ever. What they said, the question was, if I've done because he's done his bushfire survival plan, and we've got a trigger there that says when the fire's coming, we're going to leave, should we leave? Absolutely. Now, do not go in your car and check to make sure the fire's coming. We've told you it's coming. Now, like I told the group the other night, the research says you're going to do that. Please don't. We've told you the fire's coming. We've told you the evacuation's coming. Go. If you've got a trigger out there that says the fire's at X and we're going to leave, then I expect you to leave. I expect you to follow the thinking that you've already put into place and leave. Trust yourself. All right? Smart people, trust yourselves. Right, getting down to the last 3 questions. Gentleman with the fingers all cut up.
I'm just writing to my advocate for disability, and he said that he's registered me as a vulnerable person on the USA website, so that's where you reach out.
How cool is that? So this gentleman's just saying, so he's a registered disability person. You've been registered with ESA already. Fantastic. So we are doing it. So send those emails through 131444 for policing. It'll all be gathered and collated. We are gathering the information through NDIS and CSD. We are doing it. We really do appreciate there are a lot of vulnerable people in our community, and Canberra is a great community for looking after its people. All right, last 2 questions. Here we go. Lady with the brown top.
Is that not going to be available anywhere other than now?
That one there? Yeah. I would hazard a guess that will be up on the website or Facebook tonight. No worries. So that's that, putting that map up online. Alrighty, gentleman over there.
Given that you've added some extra water for a few days, that's good, but if everybody in Banks and Gordon and Con to start using their hoses and the fire trucks, will we have sufficient water pressure?
Yes, you will. So this is about how much water is available. So they put 3 days worth of water into the tanks, but they're continuing to fill the tanks as we go. So the tanks are gravity fed or pump fed, depending on which dam we're drawing from. They will continue to top those tanks up while this is ongoing. So right now, the water reserves in the ACT are not a concern. They've simply put a lot of water in there should the fire trucks need to draw a lot of water all of a sudden. They will continue to keep those tanks topped up the whole time. That's all right. All right, I'm going to allow one last question. Becky, you get to choose who it is.
Oh, don't put that pressure on me. The front, okay.
The ex-copper there that gave me the info.
This lady here.
I've just had somebody contact me to say they didn't know tonight was on. Where is this recording going to be so they can listen to it?
Okay, so we will put some stuff online. I would suggest that we'll under the Facebook link for this meeting, so there's a Facebook link there, that at some stage tonight you'll see a different link appear there, and I suggest you want to go and look at that. I know it's really cryptic. Go to Facebook, look for that link. Would that be a fair comment, gents? Thank you very much. All right, so, and I know they did the last one, so I know they'll do this one as well. All right, folks, we're going to pull it up there tonight. I do want to say thank you very much for coming tonight. First of all, be safe. Second of all, be safe. Watch the alerts. Stay safe. Keep living the way you're living. We'll see you at the other end of it. Have a good night.